I know it's 1:30, but I'm not going to call the meeting to order yet. We don't have a quorum, so we're going to wait a little bit, see if we get one more member. All right, now we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. And if you are not the applicant and you wish to address the board, would you fill out one of these white slips and hand it to anybody so we don't miss someone who wants to speak? Called the meeting to order. First item is minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 18, 2023.
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Aye for me.
There we go. All right, next, Cindy, you want to call the continuances?
Okay, we have requests by the staff or applicants for item number 9, case number 15176, case number 10, case number 15174, item number 11, case number 15175, item number 12, case number 15173, item number 13, case number 15172, and item number 14, case number 15171. These have been deferred till August 17th. We have item number 15, case number 15395 has been deferred till 6/15. And item number 16, case number 15396 deferred till 6/15.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the continuances and continuance requests and withdrawals as read.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Cast your votes when you can. All right, if anyone was here on those items, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to. Those have been continued. Do we have any? Oh, go ahead, your turn. Requests from the public?
Oh yeah, request by the public, I have none.
Okay. I don't have anything on a consent docket, so I think we're ready to get started.
Item number 1, case number 15384 is request of the City of Oklahoma City Waters Utility Trust for a variance to landscape regulations located at 13700 South Douglas Boulevard.
Okay. All right. On this one, I'll make an announcement and ask if anyone has a problem with it. We don't consider it a conflict, but my wife is a member of the Water Utilities Trust, so if anybody doesn't want me to vote on this, say so now.
I'm the attorney for the Water Trust, and the Water Trust has no objection to you ruling on this. approving this.
All right. Go ahead and present your application. Very good, thank you.
So this is for the Draper Water Treatment Plant. If you will go to the Google Earth picture. So you can see the treatment plant there. It is the major plant for the water supply for Oklahoma City and surrounding areas. And it is totally fenced in. It is considered under the federal vulnerable assessment federal act that, after 9/11, all the municipalities had to assess their critical assets. And this is by federal law considered a critical asset. It is fenced in, gated, not open to the public. The Water Trust owns all the land to the west, and then the land to south of Southeast 49th, we own a portion of that. We own all that. And so we're in the water treatment business, water business. There are lots of pipes, lots of things going on. There are trees there, but in the actual where the plant is itself, we don't want any trees. There are so much going on in that area. It's just not conducive to the plant. So we would ask that we be granted a variance.
Questions, comments from the board? And I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody who wants to address this item? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15384 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirement for a variance to the landscape regulations in R1 single-family residential.
Second.
Motion and a second, so cast your votes. All right, you're approved.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, case number 15393, a request of Charles Hauschel on behalf of Tiffany Renee Ratcliffe for a variance to accessory building regulations in the R1 district located at 3627 Northwest 44th Street.
Okay, give us your name and tell us about your applicant and your address.
Charles Hoschel, 4937 Northwest 35th Street in Oklahoma City.
Tell us a little bit about your application, please.
I'm the architect who's prepared plans for this pool house, a cabana, and the pool is existing, has been for quite a while. And our plan was to put the pool house within 5 feet of the east property line and retain the strip of grass that is on the east side of it now. It's kind of a buffer between the pool house and the pool itself. Applied for a building permit and was told that because of the size of the property, that we would have to have not 5 feet off the property line, but 25. And the way the property is configured now, we would almost have the pool house in the pool. So the front porch would be right up against the pool deck and a landscaping area to the left of that. So we're asking that we be allowed to maintain the 5 feet on the east side of the cabana, and putting it 25 feet away from the property line would not only put it very, very close to the pool, it would negate that area, the use of the grassy area that is there now, which also serves as a natural drainage area. When we have a heavy rain, water comes through there. So we would interrupt that if we put the building right there. Also, there's a lot of sprinkler piping in that area, and as of recently, OG&E has put a power line in that very area, so that would mess with all of that.
Questions, comments from the board?
Just a question for staff, maybe, that the size of the lot being, if it was a 12,000 square foot single-family home, what would it'd be a 5 foot? Okay. And I think, just looking at it, I went by there, the neighbors have a building just on the other side of the fence right
Yes, sir,
there.
they do.
And I don't know if they got a variance or not, but anyway,
Yes, sir.
I don't think it's obstructing any view would be a problem for the neighbor.
Okay.
They're not here in protest either, but,
Okay.
so,
And I don't have anybody signed up on this one, so anybody wants to address the board on this application? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15393 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirement for a special exception, or a variance, sorry, to accessory building regulations in the R1 single family.
Second?
Motion and a second, so cast your votes. You're approved.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You don't have to leave if you don't want to. You're welcome to watch the proceedings.
Item number 3, case number 15375, a request of David Box on behalf of Lumberyard Development for a variance to parking lot regulations in the DBD in the SRODD district located at 101 Southeast 4th Street. And also I have a recommendation today that they approved, gave a variance approval continued on the limited temporary basis of the 3-year term limit as proposed by the applicant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, on behalf of the applicant. So what we seek to do is get a variance to the hard surface paving requirement, except we will meet ADA requirements and pave those. This lot serves as the lot for most of the employees of Paycom and many restaurants in the area. What I handed out were support letters from Paycom and Levy Restaurants. Specifically, if you read the Paycom Center's endorsement, they say that the application will mitigate waste by deferring rather than eliminating pavement or development of the property. We put upon ourselves a 3-year limitation. It's our belief that in 3 years, the site will be ready for development. And as Cindy stated, the Scenic River Design Review Committee enthusiastically provided recommendation to this board of approval, 6-0.
Questions, comments?
With enthusiasm.
I felt the enthusiasm.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else in the room did.
I read enthusiasm.
I just had a couple of questions. There is some hard surface in there already. A road that's paved through there. There's also a lot of gravel. There's existing chain link fence that's kind of fenced off the middle. I'm just envisioning what's going to happen over the next, like you say, 3 years. There's going to be a development built across the street to the north. I see them probably parking on this site. I just drove through the site.
Mm-hmm.
There was 5 loose dogs that chased me through the area. There's quite a few homeless people living under the viaduct. In all of that, if this variance gets approved, the parking gets approved, will the owner actually, since more people will be there, potentially, would they be able to clean up the area?
Yeah, so what will happen is we'll have to go get a CA still for the hard surface for the ADA spots. My client's a fairly significant stakeholder in Bricktown, and there is interest in this site for development, but it's not now. You know, the 3-year mark was, again, a mark that we came up with that we see. So what we're really seeking is to allow the as-is condition to continue, except for we will, of course, meet the ADA requirements. And hopefully that does some to clean it up. I will say Paycom is the main tenant that parks here. They're very supportive of this. It's a great lot to be able to put their employees fairly close to where the arena is. So they were happy to support this application and have no concerns with the current state of it.
Anything else?
I just had one question in regards to what were the specifics for the, what were the specific issues with, in regards to the design district for the Scenic River overlay? What were?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because if you look at the map before you, I see no river. It's a pretty good distance away from the river. You're likely to have significant development between this site and the river, and of course you have the interstate highway. When the city put the river overlay in place, it was to ensure that sight lines and development along the river was appropriate. Why it stretched as far as this way, perhaps Mr. Voorhees could comment on that, but I don't know. But the things at play that the Scenic River Committee is concerned about weren't at play here, based upon the specific location of this site. So if you think about these design review committees, you were on UDC for a period of time, you go to them when you're seeking to go build something. This one's a bit strange, and it only went there because they had to provide a recommendation to you guys as the BOA, but there's nothing specific from a design standpoint that they're approving, other than they once again will be able to say yes or no to the CA for the ADA spots. It's kind of a strange one.
Anything else?
This variance would only allow parking of vehicles? So
Correct.
if they go to store equipment or materials from the other site, you'd have to come back?
Correct. And again, it's limited to 3 years.
I don't have anybody signed up on this one. Does anybody want to address the board on this application?
Would the minimum be 1 year? Like, I mean, if we did a variance for a year, just a question.
Well, variance in theory is perpetual and runs with the land. We limited it to a sign of like good faith that we don't intend this to be parking forever, and our hope is that in 3 years, if it's not rated for development, we'd have to come back, and the Scenic River and the BOA would be able to see what the world looks like at that point and cast judgment at that time.
Just a question, but the idea that there isn't the hard surface there, and I just reading what the staff report said about not allowing others to do it, just 3 years, it seems like a long time to me.
Yeah, so one of the things that I think this does is, this site is a prime site on the boulevard. So spending that money to pave it all would be a tremendous waste.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
and I agree with that too, and that's why I said I'm good with the application. I just think that 3 years is a long time in case something were to awry, that this thing becomes such an active parking lot that becomes a problem for some other reason.
Yeah, well, I will say, I mean, there are other provisions in the code that deal with nuisances and other things, and hopefully in 3 years, we're not even talking about it. We're showing you some sort of building that would go there. But so the 3 years we viewed, and I think staff agreed, was a nice compromise.
Nobody's got anything else? I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15375, request for a variance to parking lot regulations for 3 years.
Second?
Motion and a second. Go ahead and cast your votes.
Thank you.
All
Not
right,
as
sure.
enthusiastic as the Scenic River, but I'll take it.
Item number 4, case number 15388, is an application for a special exception of Luke Richardson for a renewal of home sharing at 1013 Northwest 33rd Street.
My name is Luke Richardson, 5117 Isle Bridge Court. Here today to apply for a renewal. Previously had a 2-year special exception. Would like to ask for a 3-year. It's been an Airbnb, had nearly 400 stays in the 2-year period. A 396 star rating on Airbnb, 496, which is extremely high. 2021, I was Oklahoma Airbnb Host of the Year because of this property. So just seeking that special exception.
Any questions, comments?
This property is a duplex?
It is.
Do you own both sides?
Yes, I do.
And the other side's long-term?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, at the time, the board was highly against both sides being Airbnb, so never sought it and would rather keep that from here on as a long-term, just to kind of balance it out.
And it's listed as a 5-guest maximum?
It's 4 guests, 5 rooms total, but 4 guests, 2 bedrooms.
Just one other thing, your quiet hours,
9 to 9.
9 to 9 listed. No street parking,
Yeah, there's,
and a 3-year ask.
prefer, yes.
I don't have anybody signed up on this one. Anybody want to address the board? Okay, ready for a motion then?
I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15388 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirement for a special exception, subject to the self-imposed rules as read.
For how long?
3 years.
Second.
Motion and a second, cast your votes.
Thank you very much.
You're approved.
Item number 5, case number 15391 is an application of James Young for home sharing at 7429 Northwest 107th Street.
Hello again. My name is James. I'm the property owner of 7429 Northwest 107 in the Eagle Lake Estates Homeowner Association. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath property, 2.5 bath. It's 2,200 square feet. I bought this house back in 2015, so I owned it for 8 years. I do have 10 plus years of real estate experience. I really took your guys' advice last time at the last hearing. I did reach out to my immediate neighbors, the ones that are in front of me, the left, the right of me, and they all have, said nothing but great things about the Airbnb or the short-term rental. I do have I know one of my neighbors also sent you guys a letter or an email. So, I'm just here to request for an opportunity for 1 year. I'm limiting the occupancy to 8 and limiting the vehicles to 3. So if you guys would approve that, I would definitely appreciate it.
I know there was one citation on this house recently.
Excuse me?
There was a citation issued on this house in May. You want to tell us a little bit about that? I'm sorry. Yeah, March, sorry.
For not having the yeah.
So at that time, during our last hearing, we were applying for the, we didn't know about the license, but after, that's why I'm here today to apply for it. But we stopped, running the operations for short term, and we only accept long term, 30 days or more, so. And I have proof of that if you guys want to take a look at it.
Yeah, hand it to her.
Okay. So, we're trying to follow the rules, we're trying to make things right,
Okay.
from the last hearing.
Okay.
And we didn't get any protests on this? No
Yeah,
written
I got
protests,
some folks
believe.
signed up,
Oh, to speak, okay.
yeah.
But we didn't receive any yet, so if there are people to speak, I'd like to hear from them.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got somebody here from code enforcement to address it. Can you come up, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Sheridan Lowry. I'm the Chief Code Inspector with Code Enforcement, address 420 West Main Street.
Okay.
Middle of May, it was brought to my attention that both this property as well as another one that was heard previously have been continued advertising on VRBO and Airbnb. Whenever I've checked that, both listings, they are for a minimum of 28-day, which is below the 30-day minimum. Middle of March, addresses for both have received citations from my inspector and forwarded to the municipal courts.
Okay. Questions, comments?
And so just so Mr. Nguyen knows, he has a violation, it's been forwarded to the courts, he's got to go take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's this property and another property?
And here's for the other property.
And this is just your new advertisement at VRBO?
Yeah, that's from VRBO from our booking.
But this one is after the citation, correct? The only date that I see on here is 5/31.
After the citation, yeah.
And I'm not, what was the date on the other?
Yeah.
I understand.
Anything else from the board?
Yeah, just for clarification, when are you saying that these were pulled? What was the last date that you're showing that these were offered as short-term rentals? Well, this property particular, I'm not worried about the other one. When was the last date this property was offered as a short-term rental?
When was it offered?
The last date that this property was being offered as a short-term rental?
Well, after our hearing, it was cut off right away. So,
So it went to 30-day plus?
yes, correct.
Until you could
Right after.
run the process?
Right after,
Okay.
yeah. Right after our last hearing.
Yeah, I think we hear from the,
Yeah. Nothing else from the board? All right, I'm just going to take these in the order in the pile. Ashley Stewart. Give us your name and address and
Ashley Stewart, 7012 Lake Point Drive, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm here on behalf of Benjamin Luke Helms. His address is 7434 Northwest 107th Street. He could not make it. I'm here to speak on his behalf in opposition to their special exemption. He lives directly across the street from the property. He says he has not been reached out to by James or Bill about the property, and he is in opposition. He's also under his understanding that the HOA is explicitly against the property, that they do not allow for short-term rentals. Yeah, that's it.
okay. Questions from the board? Thank you. Looks like Terry Husky. Did I say that right? Oh, and Chelsea. Well, you guys decide. I got both.
My name is Chelsea Husky. I live at 7234 Northwest 105th Terrace. I'm the HOA president of Eagle Lake Estates.
Okay.
I've just found out about this recently, so I'm asking if there's any possibility that we could reschedule this to a later date so that we could properly prepare. As I have over 35 emails from our community and homeowners who are in opposition of this, and we would like to better prepare and have a better presence because they were not able, so many people were not able to come due to the short notice.
Okay. So we got a request for a continuance. Do you have a problem with moving this over?
To what day, I guess, or would it be just the next hearing?
Is 2 weeks good enough? I think 6:15 is our next meeting. Is that right?
I mean, I'll take as much time as I can get.
I mean, I honestly, I'm super busy. I would prefer if you guys would make a decision today, if possible. But I do respect her wishes. So,
Just speaking for me,
I'm gonna leave that
what
up
I'm
to
gonna
the
do,
board.
I'm gonna suggest you take the variance, or the continuance. There's only 2 of us here today, and chances there'll be more, but I'm gonna make, it'd be
better.
my decision that, yeah, you just speak with the homeowners and the HOA.
Okay.
Okay. Don't go anywhere yet. I've got Terry, Daniel, Colleen, and Glenn. Are
Well,
you
the
guys
reason why
okay
I
with a
say that is
continuance for
because
2
I'm about to have
weeks?
a baby, so I'm gonna be really, and she's
Everybody?
about to.
I think everybody's nodding.
Okay,
All right,
I understand.
yeah. I mean, if you want to address the board, fine, but looks like we're going to go ahead and continue this, and you guys can visit with him and catch the other HOA member.
And you're here, so if you want to be heard and not come back at 6:15, go ahead and speak today. We'll remember, but either way.
Or if there's a date that's better for you, I mean, my personal position is I'm of the mind that staff puts these together and sends out notice. I don't know exactly how much time there is that you guys have, because we have heard that a few times that folks didn't feel like they received enough notice. But just being fair to the applicant, because they're not in control of that process, I try to only continue if I feel like there's a need to continue. I will say, this case to me is one that I feel like should be continued. So my decision to continue is not really based on the fact of just giving the HOA more time. While that may end up being the result, it's more along the lines of, I think there's some things that need to be worked through here, and I made the recommendation that the last time that Mr. Nguyen had an application here, that there be some dialogue between the neighbors and James and Bill. I think that both sides, the goal should be to have a discussion in how we can have some arrangements that maybe make it more palatable for the neighbors. I think that we've kind of went over this quite a bit in the past. There are certain limitations as far as what we can review, and so I can only speak for myself. Simply not wanting it is not going to be sufficient for me to turn down an application. And then from there, the HOA, we've had ongoing discussions. We've reached out to our municipal council to get clarity on this, but as it stands right now, we don't attempt to, for lack of a better term, adjudicate through HOA covenants and restrictions. That we've maintained that's a matter for district court. So I am in favor of continuing this because I do feel like there needs to be more dialogue. However, I do want to be respectful because you're the applicant. You've done everything as far as turning everything in on time. I would say if you have a due date, you mentioned having a baby coming.
July,
So-
beginning of July.
So while I do want to continue, if there's a date that works best for you, I do want to defer to you for, you know, how can we make this most convenient for you having to come back, given the fact that you do have a child on the way? Is there a date that, would you like to do this at the next meeting? Is 2 weeks enough time, or would you like to push it back a
When
month?
is the next meeting?
June 15th.
15th, June 15th? Or we can go beyond that if that's better for you.
I can't on June 15th. My mom's coming to town.
What's meeting in July?
July 20th.
July, I'm about to have a kid, and I'm not gonna be able to. I mean, if there's any concerns, or, you know, I would love to hear it from you guys, and, you know, if we can work together on making the community better, I'd rather just have a decision, like, we can talk it all out, and we can just move forward with our lives. And I'm being sincere, you know, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it work between, you know, me as a homeowner there, and, you know, of course, I'm part of the HOA as well, so.
Would August work better?
Okay, well, I mean, if that's really, I think August, okay. I mean, we can push it back to, I guess we can try for next month. The sooner the better.
Excuse me, if you want, just as Commissioner Noble stated, if you want to address us here today and send your brother or send another representative, I think there was some confusion initially when your first cases came up. There was some confusion about whether or not you had to be here, and you were advised that you should be here. You're not required to be here. You absolutely do not have to be here. You can send somebody else in your stead. We'll hear the case and give you the exact same level of respect as if you were here. My vote is going to be based off of the merits of what's presented before me. So
Okay,
do
I
not feel
understand.
obligated that you have to be here personally.
I understand. Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess we're gonna push it back to next month?
Does that work?
If you're in agreement, yeah, so July 20th is the,
Does anybody else wanna speak about any concerns or comments? You know, I would love to hear about it.
Did
Ought
you
to
say
give
that was
everybody
July?
plenty of time to get together,
Did you say that was July 20th?
right? Is that 20th? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to say that our notices go out, they go out 20 days prior to the meeting, and we sent out 31 notices.
Well, I think I saw enough people nodding their heads that July 20th is going to work.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Well,
then.
did you want to address this if you don't plan to be here? Is there anything that you want to specifically say in this meeting?
What I wanna say, yeah, I mean, there's this whole other side of having short-term rentals that are, you know, viewed as in a negative light, negative aspect. But, you know, there's this whole other side that, you know, we as homeowners experience as well, you know? Like, one of them that really got to me was, you know, one of our guests that stayed at one of our other properties, you know, their father passed away, you know, and they all grew up in Oklahoma City, all the siblings, and they all moved out. They all moved out of state, and after, you know, when their father passed away, they all flew back home. And they just needed somewhere just to stay and mourn for their, you know, for their loss. And to me, that actually hit me because, you know, I lost my dad too. And for me to provide a service to the community, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that, you know? So, you know, yes, of course, there's concerns about parties, there's concerns about noise, and I'm not about, you know, creating chaos for the neighborhood. Right across the street from my house, it's Mick and Candy. You know, they're an older couple, and, you know, they're a very sweet couple, and I'm not trying to cause noises or, you know, make their lives difficult, so, you know, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Okay, anything else from the board? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to defer case number 15391 to July 20th.
Second.
A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Okay, we'll see you back July 20.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Item number 6, case number 15392, is an application of Alan Hicks for home sharing at 2936 Northwest 47th Street.
Alan Hicks. I live at 1009 Fox Lake Lane in Edmond, and I own the property at 2936 Northwest 47th. I bought that property in November of 2020 with my wife, and when we bought it, we had a dream of someday maybe using that house for families that come in from 2 hours away or more for cancer treatment. I lost my wife last year to cancer. And so when I had this rented long-term, and when my tenant moved out in February, I thought, this is the time to try this, to see if we can make a home where people could stay at a very inexpensive cost while they're here for cancer treatment. We're only 5 minutes away from Integris and only about 15 or 20 minutes away from Stevenson. And so that's the plan. And forgive me for asking for 25 years. I didn't know any better.
Well, you can't have it if you don't ask for it. You can't have it if you don't ask for it, so.
That's right. We could do this when I'm 94, you know? Are there any questions about what I'm doing there? It won't be advertised through Airbnb or VRBO or anything like that. It'll be through referral, through a social worker, or I'm working with a wonderful organization called Tenaciously Teal, and they get calls all the time from cancer patients that need help. And so they will be helping me vet the applicants as well.
Anything from the board?
No, sounds like a great project, a great idea.
I don't have anybody signed up to speak. I think we're ready for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15392 on the basis that it meets a statutory requirement for a special exception with the self-imposed rules as read for 1 year.
Second.
Motion and a second. You're approved.
Thank you very much.
Item number 7, case number 15394, is a renewal for a special exception for home sharing of Sufin Dong at
Good
4521 North Georgia Avenue.
Good afternoon. My name is Sui Fan. So I'm the owner of the house. It's been approved for 1 year, and my house has 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, and then 2 living room. We have one queen bed in each bedroom, and we have 2 queen sofa beds in the living room, so we can accommodate maximum five guests. So everything went really well last year, so I'm here to apply for 3-year renewal.
Questions or comments from the board?
Just a couple of comments. Would you agree to a maximum of 3 cars?
Yes, we have one attached garage and one carport, and also, yes, 3 cars, yes.
And then your quiet hours start at 11 p.m. Can we have a time to end them, 11 to 8?
Yes.
I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one, so I think we're ready for a motion then.
I just want to confirm with staff, this is a renewal? Okay, but I think I'm going to start making sure that we've had a couple, I think it was a few meetings back where somebody thought, or they might have been misinformed, they thought they were doing a renewal and it was an initial application, so this is actually a renewal. Okay.
I believe on those, they may have been grandfathered in where they lived there, and then they changed it to be, and they thought it was a renewal for a special exception. It was just the home share license.
But this one does have a current active license in this, okay, perfect.
I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15394 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirement for a special exception with the self-imposed rules, with a 3-car maximum, quiet hours from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m., and a 3-year exception.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 8, case number 15160, a special exception of Benjamin Sherman on behalf of Pathway Strategies for a short home sharing at 5217 Foster Drive.
Hello, I'm Benjamin Sherman, and I operate short-term rentals in several states in the Midwest, including the neighbor Kansas and Nebraska to the north. I operate 27 short-term rentals and have done so for over 4 years without any incidents. We're very strict about parties. We use strict outside security cameras, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., quiet hours, and have never had an incident with any neighbor or any such issue. This is my profession. This is my way of life. So I take it very seriously, and thank you for your consideration of this property on Foster Drive.
Questions, comments?
Just a couple of questions. Is Pathway Strategy the property manager?
Pathway Strategy is the property owner. I am the operator. So my LLC, that is a single member LLC, has a lease with the owner, Pathway Strategies, with an explicit allowance for using it as a full-time short-term rental.
And do you live in Oklahoma?
No, I live in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as a local operator, that you don't have a property manager or?
Well, we do. We have property supervisors in the city, and we have cleaners who do the sort of first line of defense. And that's how we make sure that we're on top of everything, in addition to the cameras that we check 24/7.
Okay, and so how many bedrooms is it?
It's a 3-bedroom.
Okay. And you can get to 7 guests by?
1 king room, 1 queen room, and 1 room with a queen and a twin.
How many baths is it?
There's 1.
1?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to limit the number of cars? I think 3 probably could fit under the
No
carport
problem.
into the driveway.
No problem at all.
I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one, and looks like everybody left.
I do have a couple questions. The other properties that are listed in the address, on the application, these addresses, were they short-term rentals that you're waiting to get
Yes,
applications
I'm waiting
submitted?
on those. It's still in the waiting period for neighbor comment. I know we didn't get any neighbor comment for Foster Drive, and we'll be here as well for the appropriate meeting for 1436 and 1440, Northwest 97.
Those are not being offered a short-term rental
Right.
right now, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I did have a question. What was the reasoning? I think this was the one that we've continued several times. What was the reasoning behind that?
So originally, a representative from the community came, and we got some unclear instructions from her, and she's no longer with the company, about how to prepare for this meeting. And so the continuance, I really wanted to be here, but I was dealing with some family matters. So through the procession of that timeline, this was the first meeting that I could be at.
Okay. I am for this application. I am going to ask that the number of guests be reduced down to 6. But I'm only supporting this because there are no protests. I feel like if neighbors would have shown up and said that they've either had issues with the property or had concerns, I think for me this would be a candidate of one to deny, simply because you don't have, you haven't had anybody here to represent this. I know you said you were dealing with some personal issues, but I think a great argument could be made by a concerned neighbor that, hey, if we can't get to this meeting, and how can we be sure that the management is going to be sufficient for the site? So it's neither here nor there because I'm going to support it, but I just wanted to make you aware of that just moving forward,
I completely,
especially for these other
yes.
applications.
Thank you for telling me that. I completely understand that. And as the current status, I'm taking care of this personally. If you'd like more context on that before you...
No, you don't. You
yeah,
don't.
okay.
I think we're ready for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 15160 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirement for a special exception subject to the rules, self-imposed rules, with number of guests being maximum of 6, number of cars being maximum number 3, quiet hours from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. for a 1-year exception.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Went away.
You're approved.
Thank you very much.
And
Items 9 through 16 have been deferred, so we're at the end of our docket.
all right. Additional items? I don't have any. Communications and reports. We don't have any board committees. Comments? No, sir. You're up. Okay. Citizens to be heard. I have no other business. Let's quit and adjourn.